Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Herbie Walker coming at you again, talking to you today about some changes that are happening right now in the testing space. And what I'm talking about now in particular is due to the coronavirus and due to high schools not being in session. Like, a lot of people are doing things remotely. We're seeing test prep companies change their strategies to go online. Now, the most recent thing is today that CollegeBoard announced that they are going to cancel the SATs for this June, but they are going to expand the offerings into the fall and including maybe even some online options, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. But what the language that keeps coming up is this testing thing important now? Because what's happening is that you're seeing big colleges and big institutions saying that we're going to go test optional. And that for the next year, in order to make admissions more equitable and fair, because a lot of students aren't able to take the SAT, we are going to waive that requirement. Now, what does all this really mean? So for those of you who may not quite understand this, the SAT, the ACT are standardized tests that measures your aptitude in regards to being college ready. So assuming that the university has a certain standard of what they feel every high school student should come in to be prepared, whatever that may mean, your score is going to give you a number, and that range tells you that level of preparedness. Now, that can mean from, you score at least a 22 on the ACT, then you are not going to take remedial classes in college, which means you're going to take essentially classes that you should have done well in high school in order to move forward. If you score very high on the ACT, for example, let's say you score a 32, 34, then all of a sudden, then not just you are not going to take remediation, but because of your level of performance, you're probably going to be eligible for academic scholarships that might come into play, or you'll be accepted into more competitive universities. Now, I used ACT just because those smaller numbers are easier to interpret than rather me saying a 1060 on your SAT versus a 1400. So that's what things are all about. Now, we're currently in a state here where CollegeBoard just recently announced that the AP exams are going to go all online. And this is something that's very good. Kids who studied all year, not sure what they're going to do because they were concerned that they won't have an opportunity to take the test. They're going to be able to take the test now. There's also going to be supplemental courses that CollegeBoard is going to offer that I really encourage everybody to take and to review, because those courses are going to cover the content that would have been presented at the fourth quarter of your academic year. So with all this kind of coming together, what does this all mean for you as a student? You're thinking about applying to college next year, and you're finding, let's just say the UCs, for example, University of California system is a very popular system. Right now, they went out and announced that it is a completely test optional school. But yet here we are. There are options to take the SAT, ACT, because they're both going to have additional dates or go online. Now, it's important to know that even though the UC schools are test optional now, that does not mean that if you have good test scores to provide, that you shouldn't provide it. You definitely should be providing your test scores to your colleges that you're applying to next fall. Now, if you happen to not have been able to take these tests, colleges aren't going to necessarily hold it against you and deny your application. And this is something that happens automatically historically at many colleges. They would say, hey, in order for us to be considered to apply, we need your transcripts, you need your letters of recommendation, we need test scores. Now, what's happening now is that if you give test scores, they're not going to just suddenly say, you know what, you're not eligible. So that's what all this means. And what's going to happen this fall is that even though you are going to be applying to test optional schools, I'm letting you know that testing is still very important. So what's happening with the AP exams, what's happening with the SAT, the ACT, you still need to take things very seriously. If you have an opportunity to take the test, use this time to study and review, because things are changing very rapidly, and I'm watching the industry kind of building this thing as it goes along. A lot of good people are putting in a lot of work and a lot of hours to make things equitable and accessible for students. But I don't want anybody to think that just because something isn't required, it doesn't mean that it's not useful, because your test scores still are going to be useful. The last thing I wanted to say about all this is that we don't know what next month is going to bring in regards to college admissions, especially with everything that's changing with testing requirements and opportunities. So I'm going to keep saying it, is that this is your future, and you really have to own this process. You cannot blame your school, the coronavirus, or any college for not achieving some of your goals. This is not a time to slack. I'm working with students right now, and there are some, unfortunately, that are not taking their academics seriously. This will bite them in the tail later on next fall. So please take your academics seriously. Understand that going test optional does not mean test blind, which is something I'm going to get into before. And ultimately, if you have good test scores, you're definitely going to need to use it. So take all these opportunities that CollegeBoard is giving with the free online classes and the Khan Academy prep. Take advantage of it, because the fall's going to get here quick, and you're going to be that's my cat. The fall's going to come here soon, and you're going to want to be ready. So thank you again for tuning in. This is Herbie. Have a great day. Peace.